In order to add learning activities and resources to your course, or even to change the wording and description in your course sections, you need to have the editing turned on. So let's take a look at that now and see what the editing icons mean and do. We turn the editing on either by clicking the button top right or by going to the administration block and clicking the link Turn Editing On. Icons appear then in the blocks and against each activity or resource which we have. So let's zoom in and take a look at them. Other themes may have different editing icons from these, but they'll be in the same order. The icon to the left of an item allows you to move it up or down by dragging and dropping it. If you can't move items by dragging and dropping, then ask your site administrator to check your settings and the site settings. It's the same crosshairs icon for a block. So here, I'm clicking and dragging to move the administration block above the navigation block. The icon to the right looks like a pencil, and if you click it, it allows you immediately to change the title of a particular resource or activity. Then click Enter and you've changed it. Further along, clicking Edit reveals other options. Edit settings will take you to the main editing screen of this resource or activity to update it in more detail. The Move arrow allows you to indent an activity or resource to the right or then back to the left. And the Eye icon allows you to hide an item from students. We'll try this in a moment. With Duplicate, you can make a quick copy of a resource or activity, modifying it then slightly, for instance, for a different class or group. Assign roles and the icon next to Edit relate to roles and groups, something which we won't go into in much detail in this Teaching with Moodle introduction course, but which you can read about in the documentation. The X is for deleting, and we can delete blocks as well as resources and activities. So for example, if we go over to the Search Forums block on the right here and click the small arrow, when we choose X, Delete, we're asked if we want to delete this block, and when we click Yes, it's gone. In the case of blocks, we can add blocks back again by clicking the Add Block drop-down, which is at the bottom of your screen, and selecting the block. We'll look at blocks in another video later. Let's now try hiding the announcements from students by clicking that eye icon. You can see now that the eye has a line through it, and the announcements are greyed out. If we go down to the administration block, we see Switch Role To, and as the teacher we can switch our role, amongst others, to a student or learner, as we've renamed it in this course. This then redisplays the course page as our students or learners would see it, and the announcements are invisible because we've hidden them. So if we go back in the administration block and click to return to my normal role, and then remember to turn the editing back on again, we can see that the announcements haven't vanished, it's just that we hid it with the icon. We'll now unhide it again so our learners can read the announcements and get started on the course. And finally, in each section there's an eye icon to hide that section manually and a light bulb-like icon. If you click this, it will highlight that particular section for your students to focus on. The X icon allows you to delete a section and all the activities it contains. To add learning content to a Moodle course page, you use Moodle's Activity Chooser, which you can access by going to the Turn Editing button on the top right, or by scrolling down and in the administration block clicking the link Turn Editing On, and then in the section where you want to add your learning content, you click Add an Activity or Resource. This will bring up the Activity Chooser. If you don't see this link, but instead you see two drop-down menus, then the first thing to check is to go to your administration block to see if you have the link Activity Chooser on or off. If you don't see this, then check with your Moodle administrator about your Moodle version, browser settings and site admin settings. What we're going to do now is click this link to take a look at the activity chooser and what it does. On the left is a list of activities, and if we scroll down, we see that underneath is a list of resources. A resource in Moodle is static content, which students would just read or look at or listen to. So for instance, if you're uploading documents or presentations, you'd use file or folder. To present information directly, you'd use a page, or you can use a URL if you had a link to a website or an online file. Whereas activities require the students to interact with Moodle. They might submit work to you using an assignment, or they might contribute to a forum discussion. The list can also include resources and activities which aren't standard, but which your Moodle admin has added as extras. The Learn Moodle site, for instance, has Big Blue Button for web conferencing, which isn't a standard module, but has been added. In order to find out about what each of these do, if you click the radio button next to it, information then appears on the right telling you what it is, how to use it and useful teaching ideas. And if you click the More Help link, that takes you to Moodle documentation with further information. You add an activity or resource by clicking the button and then clicking the Add button at the bottom, or if you don't need to read the information, you can simply click twice on the button and that will take you to the setup screen.
Now let's review over what we've just learned. This lesson has provided us with important information about how to edit and how to add content to our newly created courses. We've been able to describe the difference between available activities and resources to be added to a course. We now understand how to add, edit, and delete an existing activity or resource. And we've been able to explain how to switch between the user screen and the editing screen.